Ah. Okay, I'm here. For some reason, OBS today just does not want to work. I thought, right, I'll switch to OBS because Streamlabs is becoming a bit too laggy and that sort of stuff. And some of my friends who stream, Holly and Gary, they said they've switched to OBS and it's a lot better. So I was like, okay, let's try OBS today, and it just wouldn't load up. Oh, microphone isn't picking up RTX, but then it is picking up RTX, and a whole range of stuff is happening. So welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining me tonight. It's a bit weird as well because normally on Streamlabs I've got like my chat bar and all that, and now I'm having to open up the thing, and it's been one of those days. It has been one of those days. It's been long. But we're hopefully going to try and get some texturing done. And hopefully, fingers crossed. There we go. Nope, I'm cut off now. All you can see is all my stuff. There we go. So yeah, hopefully we can get some texturing done inside of Substance. Now I did do a stupid thing yesterday, which was I stupidly didn't save, and then I went to save my Maya scene and it crashed and I lost an hour's worth of UVing. So F in chat for respects on that one because I'm an idiot and I forgot to save. So yeah, I'm hoping everything's coming through fine. Like I said, I'm using a different setup today, so yeah. And there's probably going to be a little bit of static on my microphone because I'm not using the RTX thingamajig, whatever it's called, noise cancelling stuff. So my mic's probably going to pick up some stuff. So we'll just have to try and do our best, and if it gets too unbearable, then I'll try and get it working again. But yeah, I think you can hear me. Also as well, the live stream I did on Sunday got muted because even though I was using a no copyright thing, obviously there was copyright stuff in there, and then I'm having a lovely time at the moment Twitch streaming. It's all my fault. Like, I should have checked beforehand, but hey, so I've deleted that video because I don't know what they've muted and what they haven't, and it's a talking video, so it's kind of key. So yeah, but let's just load up Maya. Oh yeah, and Maya decided to delete. So this scene had everything in. This had everything, and I crashed Maya, and then everything disappeared. And I was just like, what? Luckily I've got FBX saves of the stuff, so it isn't too bad on there. Let me just open. Oh, I did that the other day. I was just like, I gave up. Oh, lovely, lovely. Well, as you can probably see from the screenshot, I've done the sculpt, so I'm ready to kind of like prep this ready for engine and that sort of stuff. I am just going to do something because I just do want to check audio levels and that sort of stuff, so give me 2 seconds. So I'm just going to mute my microphone a minute. Yeah, I can't do that.
I don't know whether this is going to be any better. I'm just using this microphone here. Um, like, yeah, I don't know. Oh, okay. I think I'm gonna use this microphone for now because it's not picking up any background noise and it's also um, not causing me issues. I'd like to get started with the artwork. That would be good. Yeah, so I'm just gonna get started with this. So I've got to tidy this up. Um, so while I UV, I'll tidy it up as well, and I'm gonna duplicate this folder. So I've still got the original bit that I made just in case. And with this, I need to kind of clean up um, the uh, um, the polygons because at the moment, yeah, it's quite messy. So I'll do that now. Uh, um, Hope everybody's having a good start to the week. It's actually it's Wednesday already. We're nearly at Friday. Um, Sorry I didn't stream on Monday. I wasn't actually feeling very well. So yeah, I did not stream any No Man's Sky. But yeah, I wasn't feeling the best, so I don't think it would have been good to kind of stream. But yeah, okay. Just gonna close that down. I am really reluctant on actually putting any music to this because yeah, like I don't like this. I want to put up to YouTube so that I've got some content this week for our YouTube channel, and I'm really reluctant to playing any music. Oh, if anybody in the chat knows anything, any decent um, any decent like no copyright music and that sort of stuff that I could use, then put your suggestions in the chat. That'd be great. But yeah, for the time being, I don't really want to risk it. But anyway, okay, so I'm going to grab the UV editor here because yep, uh, and if I go create automatic, I'm automatic mapping it because I'm going to stitch it back together like um, I don't just like automatic map it and then leave it. I do stitch the UV islands back together because obviously that just kind of helps with that sort of thing. Um, just move that off to one side, and I'm just going to do this one as well because I don't really need to do anything for this because it's pretty much done. I'm just going to do that because then what I can do is I can delete these and I can just duplicate this. So one, two, three, four. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to combine these together. Um, and what was the reasoning why I didn't change the why didn't I sew these? That's why, because I was going to bevel them, then sew them. Yeah, that's why I didn't do that. So if I just grab these, and obviously I'm just going to hide this and go into a side view. Let's hide that. I'm just going to grab all the edges and then going to deselect these edges. Oh no, no, I want those. Ignore me. Is that all one mesh? Yeah. So let me just undo this. So with this one, I'm just going to grab that, bevel the edge. I'm going to put like a 0.2 on it because I don't need too much. And the same with this as well. The only thing is I need to obviously deselect these edges because these edges aren't going to get thingied. And I've just realized I need to see. It's all right. If you go back onto the edge, then you thingy. I don't want these edges beveling either. I want these edges. And obviously I don't want that edge, and I don't want that edge either. And the ones below as well. So I'm just holding control to deselect these. I think that should be fine. I mean, I'll know straight away if something isn't right because I'll look at it and then go, okay. And again, I'm going to try and keep it the same. I'm just going to go around and double check to make sure everything's fine. Nothing's broken. Nope, that's right. Everything's symmetrical. That's fine. So then if I look on there, and we get this nice crevice on there. And the reason why I UV'd it, then beveled it, is because it automatically then still sews in the bevel. So you don't have to then like fiddle around with the UVs, it automatically does it for you. So that's one thing I've started doing more and more, is like I do the beveling after I've UV'd because it just keeps the shape of it and just makes my life a little bit easier. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change where the pivot is and just go like this. Okay, so that should be fine. Just for the time being while I fix the construction. And I'm not going to place these yet. I'm going to wait before I do that. So yeah. Next thing, let's UV this because this will be quite simple. Okay, let's hope that one's fine. I think the next thing to do would be to Okay, so I need to grab these faces and then cut. I'm just sewing these together, basically. I'm pressing G to repeat the tool that I just last used. So. So I can actually delete that face because I'm not going to see it, but the top face I can't, because if I do bevel on these, you're going to be able to see inside it. So it needs to be there. So we're going to keep that face in, and I'm just going to stitch it. And then what I can do is stitch, 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 and then so. So yeah, you can see that everything lines up with each other basically. So yeah, that's why I do that. And then the best thing with this is, because it's going to be the same with these as well. It's going to be different because we're gonna have these as laid out as separate UVs. But I mean, for the time being, because I've UV'd it already, I can kind of just put it together like that. Let's do this thing. So for this, what I've decided is to actually get rid of this. Same on the other side. Because you're not going to see it, so it's kind of pointless it being there. I'm just going to automatic map that as well. Even though I'm automatic mapping, I'm not leaving it as it is. I'm actually making sense of the shape and that sort of stuff, because yeah, if you don't, and if you just like hit automatic map and then just leave it, then it causes issues basically. So yeah, it's probably best if you just kind of thing it. Let me try and reload Twitch Stream Manager. Yeah, it still doesn't like Google open. I have got an old desktop which I'm thinking of trying to turn into a streaming machine. Because yeah. But anyway, for that now, I'm actually gonna bevel it. Again, I'm gonna try and keep the bevels the same across the whole thing. Just so may not be the case, but we'll try and keep it as close to it as possible. Again, for this, like, I'm just thinking, is it worthwhile me having it set in, or is it just worth me basically getting rid of this gap? And because on the bake, it's going to be there because that's the shape of the thing. And do I really need it in there? I don't know. I think for now we can get rid of it, because that's going to save polygons, definitely. Like, if there isn't any need for it to be there, and if it comes out in the bake and the texture and it looks all right, then that's good. Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be there as physical geometry, because it's on the underside of the object, and you're not really going to see it. So it's kind of, it's what looks good in terms of the look and the detail, but it's also what looks good in engine and what's optimized enough. So if, like, mobile, you're going to have tighter restrictions and that sort of stuff. Not that I'm building this for mobile. I'm just building it as a portfolio piece, but it's still, even though it's a portfolio piece, it's still good to have clean geometry, even though you're not kind of putting it in a game or anything like that. You still need to present it, and you still need to show that you are able to work with limits and not bad habits. We had this conversation this afternoon. I had Laura from Roll 7, who's the lead environment artist there. And she came in and gave a talk to my students, and some of the things she was saying about like stuff that she's expecting to see in portfolios, I say to my students, and it's brilliant when I get industry people to come in and do that, because it's like, yay, you're validating what I'm saying. Yeah. The only problem with this mic is if I take a drink, it's not flattering. Where are you? What are you doing? You can always tell something's wrong when you've got faces that don't exist in the 3D space but exist on the UVs. It's like, yeah, something's wrong with you. Like, yeah, faces within faces. Yeah, always, you can always tell. Right, okay, so I'm happy with that now, so I'm going to bevel it. No, I'm not. What's up with you? So you're an issue. Okay. So, like, faces should not go that way, basically. So I know that's an issue with the... just going to straighten those UVs. So now if I do a bevel, it should work. There you go. This is always a good stage, because you know when things aren't working properly in 3D, this will basically tell you if it's not working in 3D when you start to do the UVs and stuff like that. But yeah, as like I said, this is already UV'd into it, so I can actually start to bevel this. So if I select all the edges, and with this is I'm going to get rid of these bottom edges and these top edges, because I don't want those. And then what I'm going to do is get rid of that inner loop, and I'm holding control to do this. Thank you for stopping by the stream. Sorry for the very disruptive start to the stream. Technology never works when you want it to, and I have had to switch from my Yeti to this mic, so it's probably not the best quality. It's probably actually better quality than that was picking up in terms of thingy. But yeah, thank you for stopping by at the stream and watching. It's just nice to do these 3D streams, because I'm already doing the 3D, so it's nice to just have it kind of have it recorded as well. Makes my life a lot easier that I don't have to then go and separately record things. But yeah, because this isn't my Twitch isn't my full-time job. I'm a senior academic at Anglia Ruskin University in Cambridge, and I run the master's course over there. So yeah, this is more of a hobby. Showing. Okay, so that needs to be connected actually. Streaming is the hobby. That actually doing the 3D is what I do for a living. Alongside the teaching, I do freelance for stuff as well. Whether it's games, VR, ArcViz. Okay, so I got that. That's fine. Got a nice. And the thing is, why I'm beveling this is because it just makes things look a lot nicer. And when you look at things like even in realistic, there's always a bevel there. Pure 90-degree angles are very harsh, and like in the real world, a lot of that is covered up by like 45-degree angles and that sort of stuff, just to kind of stop people from hurting themselves. So it's the same with this. This is going to be look a lot nicer on an anti-aliasing than say a 90-degree straight edge, and it's gonna help that anti-aliasing, but it's also gonna help with bacon as well. Because when I'm sculpting these edges, I always try and break the silhouette up as much as possible. And yeah, so I'm just gonna hide that. Oh, okay, I'm gonna try something. Oh, gonna try this. Um, but yeah, as you probably noticed there, that was an Engon, so I needed to clean that up because it's got too many sides basically. So yeah. And then what I'm gonna do is and trick as well. What you can do is you can flip these in different angles. So that you get it still lining up how you want it to, but it's now flipped. The only issue is you do then have to go in and clean this up, because at the moment, if I freeze the transformations, it's going to flip all the UVs, and nowadays you don't want red UVs because it means that they're flipped. So if there's any detail or any writing on these sort of pattern, it will be flipped the other way around. So it's kind of, you need to flip them back basically. In modern day UVing, you shouldn't really have UVs flipped. I know there is exceptions to that. So if you've got things stacked on top of things, UV islands stacked on top of UV islands, then yeah, okay, you're probably going to need to do that and have flipped UVs. But if you're just doing individual assets like this, it depends budget, type of project, all sorts of things. So I might be saying, okay, for this I don't need it, but then I might work on a client's game or a mobile game or a PC game, and I will need to do it. So it honestly depends on the project. But now most days you don't need flipped UVs um, on there. I'm just going to combine these because it's going to be easier, and I'm just going to put the pivot to here, because what I can do actually, while this is still in construction, I can put the pivot of that onto here, like so. Press Control D, and then flip it in -1 in the Z, and there you go. And then the only thing you have to do then is just freeze the transformations, and then select the UVs, and then flip them. So there you go. There you go. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. You haven't been too busy. What's everybody been up to? I'm just gonna. I'm gonna stitch these together. It's nice chilled out music, isn't it? Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Okay, so I've got that all right. I'm gonna bevel these now. I'm also gonna save so I don't make the same mistake as I did yesterday. Oh, that I just kicked myself. It depressed me that much. I just stopped building this. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna come back to this tomorrow. Because yeah, nothing worse than doing that. Okay, so for this as well, what I'm thinking is, again, just deleting that, because at the end of the day, I don't really need it. I'm just going to press Control Delete as well, just to delete that. Yeah, because I don't really need it. In the high poly, it's going to capture it, so that's fine. But like in the low poly, I don't really need to kind of do that. I'm just going to bevel the edge. Again, I might have to make that bevel slightly smaller because it's a bit too big. So 0.05. Yeah, that'll do. And I forgot to UV it, so let's not do that. Let's Control Delete it, Control Undo it. And let's... So that's always fun. No, come on. Oh, my computer's struggling a little bit, isn't it? Cool. So I'm just going to manually change this because, the shape of what it was originally didn't look right, and that's why you got a little bit of like scaling issues. So basically what I've done is I've just kind of fixed it and done it that way a little bit on there. Yeah, my computer really doesn't like it being open. So I'm just gonna and then what I'm gonna do is sew these back together because I'm happy with that. Yep. Okay, I'm happy with that, and I'm just gonna. Ooh. I'm gonna do that. I mean, it was 0.05. Okay. So next thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna delete that. And then I will flip this in the X. So there. The only thing with this is I should have really, where are you? Just rotated everything, basically. I'm just going to straighten that UV up as well. Oh, hello. There you go. Next thing is, what else have I got to do? This post here. Again, I'm going to delete this because, again, it's not really needed. And my fat fingers then just duplicated it, so it's a good job I saw that. Even I still make like duplication mistakes and that sort of stuff. So now just automatic. Oh, no, there's stuff here. And I'm holding V just to snap those and then merging them together. And then I'll do an automatic. So I'm going to need the top face because that's actually, you could see that. But the bottom face, because it's inside the inside of here, it can be deleted. That's fine. And I can drag this slightly down a bit there, so it intersects into the whole mesh basically. And what I'm going to do is just, again, I'm just going to flip this. There you go. Alright, now with this one, I'm going to fix this as well because at the moment it's not the best. Actually, I've just realised I did not bevel it, so I'm just going to. And then okay, this needs tidying up quite a bit because if you notice here, it's got some serious bad geometry issues, and like that as well. I can delete that middle. Now I can automatic map it, and it's gonna. Oh, hello. Where are you? Okay. Avert there. That shouldn't be there. Ooh, I'm just gonna mute my mic a minute while I. Okay, I'm back. Okay, I'm gonna bevel this. Okay, something's wrong because so I know something's wrong because it wouldn't bevel basically. So there was a vert not merged. It's probably going to be on the other side. No, okay. Okay, so there's something wrong with this that it doesn't want to basically bevel. So I need to go through each vert and see whether it's got any like none. Okay. Hmm. This is interesting. Okay, so normally the case would be that it's a vert sitting on top of a vert, and it's just not merged, but that's not the case. Ah ha ha ha! I found you. I found your rogue vert. You're not supposed to be there. So let's try this again, shall we? There we go. So you always find it in the end. Okay. Next thing I need to do is these things. So these, for example, I'm not going to leave these bolts in because alone these are 1,568 polygons. If I was to have two of these, it's 3,000 polygons. 6,000 polygons. These ones are same. So alone with all those bolts, it would be stupid, like nearly 20k, I think, around that area just for those. So we're going to get rid of those. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get rid of the bolts. So I'm just going to select all the faces and get rid of them. And then we're going to need to UV this. So the best way I've found, I'm just going to save again, make sure I save, is to basically grab the edges. So grab these edges. And what I did was I cut, so I pressed the cut button to cut all of this out. And what then I'm going to do is just deselect these inner edges because I don't need them. And then I'm going to find where I want the seam. So I'm going to put the seam here. It's the back end. It may be pushed against the wall, so you might not be able to see it. So when you're thinking about where to put seams, make sure you kind of think where it's going to be. And is it going to be hidden from the player? Is it going to be visible? Or are you going to need to do some kind of like blur to stop it from kind of seeing the seam? So it's kind of important. And once I've got that, I can then basically do this. So I can select these edges, stitch, select these edges, select these edges and stitch. And all I'm going to do with this, just to make it tidy, is hold V and snap them to the point here, like so. Okay, I'm just going to So I'm just posting the TikTok of Zelda. She's got more followers than me. She's got 150 followers on TikTok. More than my Twitch. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew these together. I'm going to select the bevels, but I'm only going to select the outer things for these ones. So I'm just going to bevel 0.2 again. And then same, I'm just going to move this. The only thing is you might have to go back in and just sew these back together because they have kind of broken. and they're a bit skew-whiff as well. So what I tend to do is just grab the straighten UVs and just do it this way. So it kind of straightens them out a bit, like so. It's a good tool for that. And then once I'm happy, I'm just going to duplicate this down so that it's roughly same size, and then I'm just going to get rid of the other one. Now the reason why I've got rid of the spheres is that we don't need them there, so there's no point them actually being there basically. So they're just taking up too many polys. So yeah. Next thing, let's sort these ones out. So separate. And this just comes with practice. So it's basically just practice. Oh, one thing I don't like is how they're all different shapes, even though some of them are thinner than others. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use something called a unitize. So I'm going to select all the faces and I'm going to hit unitize after I cut them. What that's done is it's made every face the same, and then I can shape them basically to roughly a square, like so. And then if I grab all the edges and pick where I want to stitch it, I'm just going to deselect there, and then the seam is up to there. So the seam will be on the underside, which will just make it a lot easier to do. Just going to align these. Okay, once I'm happy with this, so I'm going to just separate this out from the main thing and just group it. And the reason for that is because I'm going to want to delete these once I've thinking, and if they're on top of each other, it's going to be hard. So it's better just for me to put it out here, and then I can duplicate this. So, because I want them in the exact position that they are here, because this is the model I took into ZBrush, so I need to make sure. But the difference is I can delete those, and then there you go. Going to start to name things as well, because yeah, for the bake it's gonna be needed basically. So sorry, I need to kind of stretch a little bit. What's left to do? This. So again, I'm just going to grab the faces, deselect that, delete them, and then automatic cut. do need to find where the high polys of those are, because I've named them in such a way that I need to make sure I name them correctly in the low poly, or else it won't work basically. So yeah, I need to make sure that. And then I can't remember what they were called anyway. Metal supports, large metal supports. Bottom metal bar, no metal base, no metal. I think it's metal supports. Because when I do a bake inside a substance, I make sure that it matches the naming convention basically, or else it just won't work. Okay. I think they're different anyway. So I won't duplicate them right now. I'll do it once I've laid out the UVs basically. Okay, what's left to do? I should have done that before I laid out the UVs, but I didn't. So let's just bevel them now. 0.2. And also with that one, I'm actually gonna. There is a face inside of here. I'm just gonna hover over that, and now you see I've just deleted all those faces, so it's a little bit easier to kind of read and understand. Again, pretty straightforward. Just going to cut it, and then with that, I'm just going to grab the edges, unselect the interior edges, and then don't do that. Make sure you deselect a seam, and then there you go. And then what I can do is and you can also use merge UVs as well, and that will sew things together. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this a little bit. So let's just bevel it. And grab that, and bevel. There you go. Sorry, let me just double check this. If I take off the wireframe as well, you can see. Okay, so that's good. So I'm just gonna I think it's easier for me to do that, and then duplicate, delete, duplicate, and delete. Metal supports large, I think this is called. There you go. And I think it's the same on the other side, so I'll wait till I lay out the UVs and then I'll duplicate it over it. I think the wood I need to duplicate over there. I think that's it in terms of UVs and just making sure that things are correct. I think the only thing I've got left to do is obviously name everything now, and then we can get it into Cider Substance Painter and actually start to bake it. So let's get cracking with that. So the thing that I am going to do is I'm actually going to combine these. I just want to hide everything else and do a little bit of cleanup. And I'm just going to merge that together. Now the reason why I've done that is because I kind of want, yeah. So I'm going to re-UV this because I wasn't happy with it. So I'm just going to cut this. He says, no, you don't want to be cut. Let's fix this as well. It's quite relaxing. This is. And that's why I always have this on as well, so I can see how many verts I've got selected, so I don't like over select basically. Okay, I'm happier with that because it just basically means that it's a little bit easier. And the thing is, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to flip it in the Z. Make sure I freeze the transformations, and then I'm going to flip that back over. Combine them both together. Make sure I select the right one, merge. There you go. And then what I can do is stitch that all together, merge UVs. There you go. There's my floor piece. I'm going to call this wood floor with a lower capital F because I screwed up. I'm going to drag this back in. So that's oh, actually, I think they're part of metal supports as well. So yeah, combine. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. This is just me chilling out, doing 3D. I'm working on a stylized keg stand at the moment for my barrel and my tankard that I've made recently. So yeah. I'm gonna have to get my ZBrush up and see what I've actually named some of these things, just to double check, because otherwise it's going to be a lot of back and forth into Substance Painter, which is not kind of what we want. Yeah, it's fine. Just have to let it respond a little bit. See a lot of increment saves there. If you want to, feel free, ask me any questions to do with 3D. More than happy to answer them. Okay, so subtools. What did I call this thing here? Wood support bottom high. Ooh, what are you playing at? There we go. That's metal, bottom metal par. Soon I get to the fun part, which is the texturing. Let's save it. Let's save it. Let's save it really quickly. Don't know what that's called, so just go into ZBrush quickly. Or not. Wood top supports. But it's not high, it's low. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11! Yay! Adds up. Woo! I'm not too much of an idiot. Woo! I can count. Right, anyway, so now that I've got all this, I'm going to set the textile density so everything's all the same. Like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out on the UV sheet. Now, slight issue. This sort of stuff. I need to rotate. Rotate it. That's fine. Now these, I'm not happy with these bits here. So I'm actually going to cut these off. I could stitch. That's probably, it's taking up less room basically. That's why. I've done that, is because it's taking up less room. Okay, they should be fine. They should be fine. Oh. I do need that in, just because you could probably see actually inside of it, so it's better to keep that in basically. Okay, let's try this again. Yep, that needs rotating. Oh, I did not UV that one. Bad Matt. Made a mistake. Not quite. About there. Okay, let's try that layout again. So hold Shift, left click to bring up the option tabs. I'm just gonna double check this. So let's work this up to 10. Actually, 5 is fine. Click Apply, and obviously it's only done that one, so I need to make sure I select the whole thing. Let's set that back up, and let's go to here and click Apply. Going to save it just in case it crashes. Select all of it, layout, and that's a lot better. I mean, we've obviously got issues here with this, but I think we can, yeah. And a lot of these things could, if need be, to save to get better resolution or to save, could be stacked on top of each other. If you haven't got anything really unique going on with the sculpt or the texture. Again, it all depends on the type of project and all sorts of things factor into that. So I can't just say yes, no, and that sort of stuff. Just realised that I didn't transfer over my follower list and latest sub list, so I do need to set that up. So I apologise for that. Okay, so I'm gonna save. Now what I am gonna do is this. Okay. That means that all the UVs that I did, they're still there basically, so that's good. Ooh. Oh, and the same with this as well. It means I can duplicate that. And the reason why I'm duplicating is because I do need the AO to bake onto these, so yeah. Okay, I think I'm ready to export. Open up Substance. I'll wait for Substance to load. Okay, new, and I need to grab the scene. Okay. I also then need to remember the buttons for Substance Painter and not try to do ZBrush and every other piece of software that I use. Oh, I need. I'll mute myself again. Okay, next thing, what do I need to do now? So, need to bake this, so that'll be interesting. Let's see if I can get a good bake straight off the bat. I always try 512 for the time being, and you just put all your high poly tools here. Click open. And then I always change this to by mesh name. I don't do anti-aliasing for the first bake because I want to see what it looks like before I commit more time to it, basically. Untick ID and bake selected. This is where it doesn't bake. And I cry a little bit inside because I'm like, no, why aren't you baking? But it looks like it's doing something because it's taken a long time. So that could either be because my computer's under a lot of stress from the streaming, or it's actually doing something. Find out next time. This music is very apt for the stage because I can't do anything. Gotta wait. Where's my cat? What I could have done was just bake one item instead of baking everything. Might do that just to see if it's working. 'Cause I did decimate the high poly, so it shouldn't be a problem in terms of like load. I think it's about 1 million, which is nothing for the bake. Come on. So it hasn't crashed. It's just taken a long time. So I will close this down. I'll try that again, shall I? Oh, there's an update for Nvidia, so I might do that after the stream. Bright. Yeah, I'll probably do that after the stream so I can update this. Where are you? File name. Oh no. What's this? Okay, I did name that right. Okay. I'm just gonna test this just to see whether it'll work. Um, whether it is because there's so much polys. I may have to go back into ZBrush and just decimate it a little bit just so so it will bake. Oh, not this again. So it did something, which is brilliant because it actually did something. Oh, thank God it did something. Okay, there we go. Cool. It actually baked that. That's good. Um, it might be just we have to wait. Cool. Okay, looks like it's done all of it. Yeah, cool. So obviously it's very low quality, so we're gonna need to kind of redo that. I'll probably up this a bit to 0.5. Same with the 5. I put a super sampling on, and we'll go up to 2K. This is gonna take a while, probably. So yeah, I do apologize. I should have saved it, but I didn't because I forgot. To be fair, it's already captured the details, so it should be a little bit easier to do. Okay, I think that worked, which is good. Okay, now I'm going to show you some of the materials I made for this. So for this little project that I'm doing, I've already made some smart materials that I'm using to kind of make sure that I'm standardized across the thingy. Now, the wood on the tankard needs changing because of this. But if I grab the stylized metal and just add a black mask, I think this is the one. So what you can do, if you add a black mask, you can actually mask out what you want as metal and what you want as everything else, basically. You see. I'll go through how I made this in a minute, but yeah. So then I've got wood as well. So where are you? Stylized wood. Ignoring those, I will fix those in a minute. Actually, that is just that bit there. So I'll just black mask that in a minute. I'll explain what the wood one is first, and then I'll explain what the other one is. But yeah, this stage is very easy. It's just kind of making sure. Ooh, why are you like that? Okay, that'll be interesting to fix. Yeah, it's not too much of an issue, actually, to be fair. What I can do is I can go in with a paint layer and fix it. So this material I kind of use as a basis, and then I'll go in and fix what I need to do in the paint. And let me just thinking that. Now, the only other thing... Ooh, that's wood, isn't it? Yes, that is wood. We can see it. Ignoring these bits for a minute. Okay, so this bit here is going to be stone, and I made a stone not long ago. I think it's this one. Add a black mask. Okay, Last piece of wood that I forgot to put is this one here, and this one here. Okay. So yeah, so that's kind of. So what I would do is with this is this needs painting out basically. So this is, it's not the gradient, it's not the edge highlight, it's the shadow and it's the occlusion. So I'm not too sure what's going on with that, but what I can do is I can come in and go add a paint layer and then do that basically. So um, and the same with the shadow layer as well. So I'll just right click, add a paint layer, and then make sure my brush is black, and I can kind of paint those issues out basically. It's probably just an artifact on on the on the bake, because these masks use a lot of whatchamacallits, they use the cavity, so it could be just something from that basically. But it's an easy fix, and as you can see here, I can just go around and kind of paint that out. And actually, saying that, like, do you know what? I'm going to delete it. And the best thing is using a paint layer is it's non-destructive. So if you break something, you can just go, okay, I'm just going to delete that paint layer. What I might do is just go into here, just turn off that a minute, and have a play around with this mask editor. Because what this might be is that it's just too powerful, basically. So I can. There you go. So not necessarily I need to paint that out. I just need to come in and play with what I've actually set up here, basically. And it's the same with this one as well. So I can change the global balance so it's less thingy. And why are you... And again, looks like the gradient is causing some issues. So let's go on the mask editor. Let's bring that down. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's wanting to... And yeah, it's all about kind of playing with it and trying to get the best from it, because I have made these smart materials, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to fit everything basically. So you do have to kind of go in and edit things. So I'll quickly show you how I made this. So the wood, I start with a base, and it's just a simple base, and it's got color and it's got height. So it's got a uniform roughness color of 1 because I don't want any roughness on it. If I was to change this, obviously you can see that it makes it shinier, or it's duller. And then the color as well. I sampled a few colors from various reference images and that sort of stuff. And then I do a soft edge, which is basically, again, I create a mask and I use the mask editor. So this is a generator. So if you right click on your mask, you can create a generator, and then within this, global balance is about 0.5, and everything that's running on this is a curvature, so it picks up the curvature map that I've baked out, and it uses that basically to capture these edges. And it's lighter as well, so I always do this as a lighter edge, and then I use a sharpen as well, because you can actually sharpen it more and play around with the blend option on that. if you so desire. So it picks up this nice curvature. And then I do an occlusion. Again, it's using the mask, and we use the curvature opacity on it as well. But it's also got a blur on it, so you can see that it kind of blends that blur around these bits here. And then there's a shadow. And because this is quite orange, I'm trying to use a different color to it, so it's kind of contrasting a little bit. So yeah. Then I will use an edge highlight, and this actually uses a different mask. Oh no, it uses the same mask. You could use a metal scratch edge generator, which does the same effect basically. So all of these masks that I'm using are using a mask editor, and I'm just playing around with things. This one mainly uses, if I remember rightly, it uses a bit of texture, and it uses ambient occlusion mainly. Was it curvature? Still uses curvature, probably not as much, but it does use a texture, and it uses grunge rust fine, and it just that adds a little bit of variation to it, and you can do that. If I remember rightly, I forgot where it is now. So you can change the global balance and that sort of stuff with that on there, and it's all about playing around with it basically. So like being able to kind of play around and thingy. Now there's a gradient on this as well, but that was causing me issues, so I've kind of turned that down a lot. As you can see here, yeah, so it's kind of it's very turned down. And then the AO hand painted is a little bit thingy now. So the AO hand painted is, so if I grab, if I create a black mask, I just come to the paint tool and look for a brush. I need a basic soft. What I can do with this, change the stroke opacity down a bit. I can paint on kind of my own AO in essence. So I can add to this. And where things meet with each other. It just means I can kind of go in and hand paint bits of it myself. Not too sure. Oh, I know why. Let's just grab the... There you go. And yeah, and the metal's done the same as well. Like the metal is the same. The only difference is it's got this baked lighting, which is a little bit easier. Let me just with you. Color balance. There we go. I'll come back to metal in a minute. So the final thing I've got here is a color balance. So this is basically allows me to change the shadows. Well, it allows me to change the highlights, midtones, and shadows. But because mainly we're just using shadows and midtones, I can change it. So if I want it more green, and like that, and the same with the midtones, I can change the midtones as well. But I'm not going to because they're set up. And all I do once I'm happy with this, I just right click, create smart material, and it creates a smart material. And then that's saved in your project folders, and you can just basically use it till your heart's content. I'm going to save this and just call this keg stand. And go file. I'm just going to go open up a new one. I want to go to the keg and just have a look at the keg. You can also paint on this bit as well, which is good. Paint directly straight onto the UVs. And again, with that, I'm gonna dumb this down a little bit because it's way too strong. You only want little bits like that. So it's like that. The metal's done the same way. It's using. I think the only thing is different is I use this baked lighting, and that just basically allows me to input the color. So if I change this, it will change the tint of the metal basically, which is thingy. And I think the stonework is the same, if I remember right. Yeah, again, it uses a baked thingy. Now the only difference is I'm using metal edgeware instead of thingy, so so I could add a bit more variation here. Actually, and one of the beauties of this is I can add another generator in here. Say add the mask editor, and then I can play around with this myself. So let me have a look at the wood one. I think I can copy effect as well. So if I just copy that onto the stone, paste effect. There we go. So I can actually copy effects to other layers, which is brilliant because like I can get roughly how I want it to look. So there you go, which is cool. And then I'm just going to add a sharpen. So I think it's under generator. If not, it's under filter. Yeah, it's under filter. So if you come off there, if you right click on here, add filter, and then just type in sharpen. There you go. And again, I could do a color. I can do color correction as well. So if I had a fill and go again, add a black mask because I always forget to add a black mask. Add filter, and I think color balance, and I can play around with. I can play around with the thingy. Oh, is that the? I think that's how I did it. Did I not do it that way? I obviously didn't do it that way. I dragged that in and there you go. So yeah, I dragged that one in and just took it out from the thing. Yeah. No, that's color correct, not color balance. There is a way of doing it. Um, Filters? Ah, here we go, yeah. So basically what you do is go into filters, go to color balance, drag that in, and then you can play around with the colors. So there you go. That's basically how you do it. And yeah, so I'm quite happy with that. So the next stage would be to kind of grab that. Obviously, this takes a little bit of time to set up, but once you've got this set up, you've got it for the rest of the project, basically. So it's good in that way. As soon as you've kind of set it up and make sure. The thing is with it is just making sure that you've got variation. And yeah, so if I file export textures, I'm going to export them as Marmoset because I'm going to render this in Marmoset. Make sure it's set to Targa. And I'm going to get rid of the dilation. I may need that, and I'll explain that in a minute if I do need it. And then I'm just going to save this as where I need to. So images, folder, keg, stand. Okay. Save settings. Make sure you rename your material to what you want it, the prefix to be called, else it's not going to work. That's such a good button. That wasn't in until a couple of versions ago, and before you'd have to then fill out all the information again if you didn't bake it. It saves it if you bake it, but if you don't bake it and go back, it doesn't. So that is such a godsend, that button there, that one button. Okay. So let's open up Marmoset. And I will file open scene. I've already got a scene set up, so I won't go into that how to do that tonight because it's already coming up to about 2 hours, which I kind of want to end the stream. Everything's gone laggy because let me turn that down and it'll save. It'll thingy. So I've got my scene set up for the render. What I'm going to do is I'm going to import the model. So that's actually I'm going to not do that. I'm going to bring in a combined mesh. So hide that. You see, I've got. So yeah, so with a few little like props, I can start to kind of build a scene from it and kind of go from there, basically. So yeah, so I'm gonna end the stream there. Thank you for tuning in. And yes, sorry again for the little bit of the stuff going wrong at the start of the stream. Hopefully I can get it all fixed and working again. If not, I'll be using this mic for the time being. And yeah, so thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next stream. Bye.